Kim Yura's fingers hovered over the holographic control panel, her eyes fixed on the endless streams of data scrolling across the monitoring station's screens. The Deep Space Research Outpost hummed with a quiet, mechanical rhythm, a constant backdrop to her nightly shift. Outside the transparent observation window, stars glimmered like distant silver pins against the absolute darkness of space. Yura had been monitoring these sectors for months, and nothing ever changed. Routine scans, predictable energy signatures, and absolute silence. Until now. A sudden spike in the sensor grid caught her attention. At first, she thought it was a system glitch, those happened occasionally in deep space monitoring. But the energy pattern was different. Precise. Deliberate. Something was moving out there. Her heart rate increased as she zoomed in on the anomalous signature. The readings were unlike anything she had ever seen before. Clean, sharp energy lines that cut through space with impossible precision. No known alien civilization in the galactic records produced such a distinct technological fingerprint. The object was massive. Its size suggested a warship, but its movement was too fluid, too calculated to be just another military vessel. Yura's training kicked in, and she began running comprehensive scans, cross-referencing the data with every known database in the research station's archives. Nothing matched. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the long-range sensors. The object was getting closer, moving with a predatory grace that sent chills down her spine. Its approach wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't passive either. It was methodical, like a hunter tracking its prey. Legends whispered among her people spoke of a civilization that had been erased from history, humans. Ancient stories told of a species so advanced, so ruthless, that they were more myth than reality. Most researchers dismissed these tales as folklore, but Yura had always been curious. And now, something that felt eerily like those legends was approaching her monitoring station. She activated the communication protocol, her fingers dancing across the interface. Standard procedure dictated reporting any unidentified vessel, regardless of its origin. But something told her this was different. This was going to change everything. The energy signature grew stronger. Massive. Overwhelming. Yura realized she was holding her breath. The vessel, if one could call such a technological marvel a mere vessel, was close enough now that she could see its outline against the starfield. Sleek. Angular. Designed not just for travel, but for war. A human warship. But humans were supposed to be extinct. Weren't they? Her communication systems began to pulse with an incoming transmission. Clean. Precise. No static, no interference. Just a clear signal that seemed to cut through space itself with surgical accuracy. Yura's hand hovered over the receiver. One touch would establish contact. One touch would potentially alter the course of galactic history. In that moment of absolute silence, with stars as her only witnesses, Kim Yura made her choice. She pressed the receiver. The universe held its breath, the research archives were a labyrinth of forgotten memories. Park Jae-woo, the senior researcher, had spent decades cataloging what remained of humanity's historical records. Most were fragmented, damaged during the Great Galactic Purge, a devastating conflict that supposedly wiped out human civilization centuries ago. Old data crystals contained whispers of a once powerful species. Humans were described as adaptable, aggressive, and incredibly resourceful. They had emerged from a small blue planet called Earth, spreading across star systems with a speed that terrified other civilizations. Yura's discovery challenged everything they knew. The official records claimed humans had been completely destroyed during the Xenocidal Wars, their entire civilization reduced to scattered debris and forgotten memories. But the energy signature she detected suggested something else entirely. Historical documents painted humans as technological innovators who developed faster-than-light travel when other species were still fighting with primitive weapons. They had a unique ability to adapt, to transform challenge into opportunity faster than any known intelligent species. When the first galactic conflicts erupted, humans didn't just fight, they revolutionized warfare. They created adaptive AI systems, developed quantum encryption that could not be breached, and designed spacecraft that could change configuration mid-battle. Other civilizations saw them as unpredictable, almost magical in their technological capabilities. The Confederation of Alien Races had united specifically to combat human expansion. Their strategy was simple: total elimination. They believed humans represented an existential threat to galactic stability. But total elimination was harder than expected. Rumors persisted of human colonies hidden in unexplored sectors, of secret technologies preserved in underground facilities. Some researchers believed humans had gone into strategic retreat, not extinction. Park Jae-woo had always dismissed such theories. He was a man of data, of verifiable scientific evidence. Legends and whispers meant nothing compared to hard facts. When Yura burst into his office with her sensor readings, he had laughed. Impossible, he told her, reviewing the data. Humans have been gone for over 3 centuries. No civilization could survive such complete destruction. But something in Yura's eyes told a different story. She wasn't presenting a theory. She was presenting evidence. The archived images were haunting. Massive human warships, designed with angular precision. Technological marvels that seemed to blend organic design with mechanical perfection. Ships that could heal themselves, adapt to different environments, and transform their very structure during combat. One particular image caught Yura's attention. A massive vessel, its hull marked with scars from countless battles, floating silently against a backdrop of distant nebulae. It looked wounded but unbroken. Waiting. The more Yura studied the archives, the more she realized something profound: humans might not have been destroyed. They might have been preparing. Waiting. Planning. Her hands traced the outlines of the old images. Something was coming. Something that would change everything they understood about galactic history. And she was going to be the first to witness it. The research station's silence seemed to pulse with anticipation. Outside, stars continued their eternal dance, holding secrets older than any civilization. Somewhere in the vast darkness, a human warship was approaching. And nothing would ever be the same again. The communication systems crackled to life with unexpected clarity. No static. No interference. Just a clean, precise signal that cut through space like a laser. Monitoring Station Epsilon 7, this is Captain Lee Hyun of the Terran Restoration Fleet. We are approaching your coordinates. Yura's hands froze over the control panel. The voice was calm. Professional. Completely unlike the panicked transmissions she had expected. It carried a strange neutrality that suggested decades of military discipline. The massive vessel continued its approach. Sensor readings showed its technological complexity was generations beyond anything in the current galactic database. Its hull seemed to shimmer, changing subtle colors like a living organism adapting to its environment. Park Jae-woo had evacuated most of the research station's personnel the moment Yura's initial scans confirmed an unidentified massive object. Only she remained, watching the incoming vessel with a mixture of terror and fascination. Acknowledge transmission, the voice commanded. Not requested. Commanded. Her finger hovered over the communication switch. One touch would change everything. The vessel was close now. So close she could see intricate design patterns on its hull, geometric shapes that seemed to move and reconfigure even as she watched. It wasn't just a ship. It was a technological marvel that defied conventional understanding. This is Monitoring Station Epsilon 7, Yura responded, her voice surprisingly steady. We acknowledge your transmission, Terran vessel. Silence followed. Brief. Calculated. Then, prepare for direct communication. Initiating quantum encrypted channel. The station's systems began responding to signals they had never processed before. Firewalls collapsed. Security protocols dissolved. Not through aggression, but through a level of technological sophistication that made existing defenses look like primitive children's toys. A holographic figure materialized in the control room. Male. Mid-40s. Wearing a dark uniform that seemed to absorb light. His eyes were the most striking feature, sharp, intelligent, carrying the weight of centuries of hidden history.
I am Captain Lee Hyun, he repeated. Representatives of the human species. We have returned. The statement wasn't a greeting. It was a declaration. Yura realized she was holding her breath. Humans, a species everyone believed extinct, were not just alive. They were here. Powerful. Prepared. Ready to reclaim their place in the galaxy.
We have been watching, Captain Hyun continued.
Waiting. Preparing. The time for our return has come.
Behind him, the massive vessel's hull continued its subtle transformations.
It wasn't just a ship. It was a living, breathing testament to human technological evolution. The galaxy would never be the same.
And this was just the beginning. The station's defensive systems activated automatically, a web of energy shields and weapon arrays spinning to life. They looked impressive, a testament to decades of technological advancement. Against the human vessel, they were about as threatening as a child's toy. Captain Lee Hyun watched dispassionately as each defensive mechanism collapsed. Not destroyed. Simply neutralized. Quantum algorithms invaded the station's systems faster than thought, rendering weapons and shields completely useless. Your civilization's defensive protocols are interesting, he said, his tone clinical.
Primitive, but interesting. Yura watched in stunned silence. The human captain wasn't even attempting aggressive maneuvers. He was methodically dismantling their entire technological infrastructure with surgical precision, as if solving a complex mathematical equation. The station's communication networks began displaying information, classified records, hidden histories, strategic reports that had been locked away for generations. Somehow, the humans were accessing everything, revealing secrets that were never meant to be discovered. We have been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries, Captain Hyun explained. While your civilizations believed we were extinct, we were rebuilding. Studying. Planning.
Holographic displays began showing human historical records, underground colonies, hidden research facilities, technological developments that had been happening in complete secrecy.
Entire generations of humans had survived, adapted, and evolved beyond anyone's imagination.
Park Jae-woo, who had returned to the station, stood pale and motionless. Everything he had studied, everything he had believed about human extinction, was crumbling before his eyes.
The human vessel continued its approach. No weapons were visible. No aggressive posturing. Just a calm, methodical demonstration of absolute technological superiority. We are not here to destroy, Captain Hyun said. We are here to reset the balance.
Yura realized something profound was happening.
This wasn't an invasion. This was a reclamation.
The station's systems continued displaying information.
Decades of hidden human development. Technological breakthroughs. Strategic preparations. An entire civilization that had been preparing, waiting, planning for this exact moment.
Your choice is simple, Captain Hyun continued.
Cooperation or irrelevance.
Outside, the stars seemed to pause.
Watching. Waiting.
The human vessel hung in space, a silent, powerful reminder that legends sometimes return. And when they do, everything changes. The next 72 hours would reshape galactic history forever. Yura found herself in unprecedented negotiations. Captain Lee Hyun presented terms that were neither aggressive nor passive, they were simply factual.
Humans would integrate with existing galactic structures, but they would lead.
We are not conquerors, he explained.
We are architects of a new civilization. Technological exchanges happened rapidly.
Human systems integrated with existing alien networks within hours, not through force, but through superior design. Quantum communication protocols that had taken other species decades to develop were implemented by humans in minutes.
The Galactic Council attempted resistance. Emergency meetings were called. Diplomatic channels were activated. But every communication, every defensive strategy, was already anticipated by human intelligence networks. Park Jae-woo discovered something extraordinary. Humans hadn't just survived their near extinction.
They had used that period of forced isolation to evolve.
Their technological capabilities weren't just advanced, they were revolutionary. Adaptive AI systems, self-repairing infrastructure,
communication technologies that could predict potential conflicts before they emerged.
The humans had transformed survival into an art form. "We do not seek to replace," Captain Hyun told the Galactic Council. "We seek to elevate." Yura became an unexpected bridge.
Her curiosity, her willingness to challenge existing narratives, made her a crucial diplomatic figure. She understood something most bureaucrats missed.
This wasn't an invasion.
This was a restoration.
Alien civilizations had two choices: adapt or become obsolete. Most chose adaptation.
Research stations across multiple star systems began receiving human technological packages.
Not as weapons. Not as threats. But as collaborative tools that could solve generations-old problems. Medical technologies that could cure diseases. Energy systems that could transform entire planetary ecosystems. Communication networks that could connect civilizations faster than light itself. The humans weren't just returning. They were reimagining what civilization could be. Captain Lee Hyun's final statement to the Galactic Council was simple: "We are home."
And with those 3 words, everything changed. The stars watched.
Silent. Waiting.
Knowing that a new chapter had begun.